Then you're going to put out the fire, sweeping back and forth. As soon as the fire goes out, you're going to back yourselves out.
Go! I didn't hear the alarm and I was sleeping in my bunk. Let's hear that. Go. Fire, fire, fire! All right. Back it up.
I just came out of the shipyard with the boat. Was on like day 3. Operations were normal.
United States Coast Guard, United States Coast Guard. This is the fishing vessel Three Girls. We are on fire.
They sit there and tell you it happened so fast and it happened so fast. I would have never thought it happened that fast.
We're all right, waiting on the helicopter or whoever, but people know where.
I think it was extremely successful, and I give majority of the credit to the captain of the vessel. If we hadn't gotten that immediate mayday call with a position, we wouldn't have known exactly where he was.
I'd say most of those ideas came from training like this, you know. I'm sure there's a manual for it or something, but when am I going to sit down and read that, you know? And I think the best way is hands-on.
Commercial fishermen work incredibly hard and sometimes put safety second because they're trying to make money. They're trying to run a small business. They're trying to feed us. And so these kind of trainings are really important.
All right, we got a leak. We got a leak. Somebody call in a mayday. Can I get a rag, please? Some tubing and a little shingle.
What do we want to do? We want to yell up. What do we need?
Shingle.
We need some shingles.
Shingle and a piece of cloth.
Okay, is that hole less than where we started? Can our post pumps keep up with that?
Fire on board, flooding on board, any kind of electrical issue, injuries on board. I mean, they do incredibly hard and dangerous work. You think about, you know, someone who works on a factory floor, an industrial athlete, while their work is incredibly important, the floor of that factory is not pitching and rolling and raining and snowing. And these men and women go out in those kind of conditions and harvest fish for our country to be fed. And there's really no one else who has an environment that's like that. It's very, very unique and incredibly dangerous.
Right? Do them tight. The reason we do that is so that when you go in the water, the legs don't fill up with air and come out of the water ahead of you.
They went bought brand new suits. I showed back up, and I'm good friends with the captain, and I looked at him and I laughed. I said, your fat ass isn't going to fit in that suit.
It's got an outer waterproof layer and an inner thermal. Again, you have to know your equipment.
If everything goes to hell and you don't get this on, it's a recovery.
Down, left paddle, down, right paddle.
All right, roll over on your back. Okay, there you go. Nice. All right, you're right there. All right, now roll over.
This is going to be beneficial if somebody is injured, if someone does pass away, and you're not comfortable with having him in the raft. You could, and he had his suit on, you can put him outside the raft and tie him to the raft. If a body doesn't make it home, insurance companies could delay up to 7 years to pay the family without proof of death. So, I mean, this comes in handy doing that.
Yeah, it takes 7 years to declare a death from a missing person. So.
To cut it now would be tragic, because that just means there are so many people who are going to be left behind, because to get this in the private sector, this kind of training, it costs a lot of money.
The funding that's been provided by the federal government has allowed us to train thousands of fishermen. And in the 3 years that I've been with the organization, we've gotten myriad of stories back from fishermen. We taught first aid down in Connecticut, and a month after we did that, one of the young men that we trained was underway on his boat and saw a capsized boat, responded, rescued another fellow fisherman from the water and saved his life. That's one example of our training, the training that was funded by the federal government. We trained the individual, and within a month, a human being's life was saved. So that's, you know, if the funding goes away, that chain is broken.
Really important. We see that as surveyors all the time. If your boat goes out for the winter, or you take it to the yard or something, and you don't take your raft off of it.
So you would push this nasal spray up into the nostril until your fingertips touch the bottom of their nose. You would press that nasal spray, and that is 1 full dose of Narcan.
I'm gonna place his hand on the ground and then put his knee over so that if he, Carl, just feeling sick, he doesn't aspirate, isn't choked. You guys know Russell now.
Throw it back at you. Like, that's it. They ain't getting the thing back. That's Wally.
It was Christmas Eve, right? Was that the...
No, it was August.
Tell my kids, you know, oh, what happens if you don't come home? I'm coming home. Don't worry about that, you know? So, and that's because of programs like this, you know?
Yeah.
For sure. The fact that this would go away because of money, you know, is crazy to me.
The return on investment for the government is huge. If they give us this money to do this training, it's going to lessen how much money has to be spent to rescue the untrained mariner.
The fact that we can offer it free based on the funds that we're receiving is incredibly beneficial to the industry, and to lose it would be tragic.
The entire federal workforce is downsizing now, so this will be a painful period for HHS as we downsize from 82,000 full-time employees to around 62,000.
You saw the Secretary of Health and Human Services announced more layoffs today. This is all part of the administration's effort for a mass reduction in force in the federal bureaucracy here in Washington, D.C. to save American taxpayers money.
What we're trying to do is reduce government. We have too many people. This is largely, much of this stuff is because of Biden. It's his fault.